The 2023 government pay raise is official. The president just released an executive order finalizing the pay raise, and it's a range between 4.3% to 5.1%. The average is 4.6%, and that's what we thought, but it changes based on what city that you're living in. Now, the biggest raise goes to the city of Seattle, Washington. They get the full 5.1% pay raise. And here's a couple of other cities that also get 5%. We have Los Angeles, California with a 5.1% pay raise, San Diego, California with a 5% pay raise. So if you live in one of these three cities, you can expect to get the full 5% or 5.1% pay raise in 2023. But do not rush to get envious over these areas because these are high cost living areas. So most of the money will be going to rent or mortgage or taxes. Look at the taxes in California right now. You're talking about 13% state tax, or maybe even higher than that, the highest in the nation. So although they're getting an extra 1 or 0.5% extra than most other states, that money is going to quickly go away. Now, if you live around the DC area like I do, and I'm talking about Maryland, Virginia, Washington, DC, we're set to receive a 4.86% pay raise, which is a little bit more than the average. We talked about the average being 4.6. I was a little surprised that the DC area did not receive the full 5% or even 5.1% because this is a high cost area. So how much of a bump would this be to pay if you're a federal employee in DC? Well, if you were a GS-12 Step 4 in 2022, your salary was $98,000 a year. In 2023, that same GS-12 Step 4 will now be earning $103,000 a year. So that's about a $5,000 a year increase in pay. So the lowest amounts, talking about the 4.3%, the lowest pay raise went to RUS, which is rest of the United States. If you live in a rural area, or you live outside of the 50 major cities that we have in this country, you will only be seeing a 4.3% increase. And you'll start seeing this extra money in your paycheck after the first pay period of the year. And the way that this works out for 2023, the pay period actually starts on January 1st. So either on the 14th, 15th, something like that, you should be seeing that first pay increase. Now, although we know that this pay raise is not doing anywhere near enough to offset the cost of inflation, and it's not really designed for that. If you think about it, if you look at the pay raise, the locality pay raise is really trying to close the gap between the private sector and the public sector. So we know we have 8%, maybe even 9% inflation in 2022, but this is the largest pay raise that federal employees have seen in the last 20 years. And there were also some other interesting things included with this pay raise. The GS pay cap is now rising to $183,000 a year. This applies to 33 different localities, and this ends up being about $7,000 more a year for the GS-15s. And if you know anything about the pay cap, you'll understand that when a GS-15 hits step 7, that's pretty much the end of their pay raises, despite moving from 7 to 8 or 8 to 9 or 9 to 10. So towards the later half of the GS steps, it takes 3 years to move. So from 7 to 8 is 3 years, 8 to 9 is 3 years, and 9 to 10 is 3 years. And throughout that 9-year period, a GS-15 will not see an extra dollar in their pay because of the pay cap. This order also increases the pay cap for career SES. Now, the pay difference between the GS-15 and the SES, that hasn't been resolved yet, so there's very little financial incentive if you wanted to transition from a GS-15 and then become an SES, at the lower end anyway. So at the very lower rank of the SES schedule, that pay is hardly any difference. We also see special rate employees will receive a 4.1% increase. So what are special rates? Special rates are for employees that live in highly competitive areas where the government is struggling to hire. So let's say Silicon Valley has a lot of IT specialists, right? So if the government wanted to get the best and brightest and they want to incentivize those IT specialists to work for the federal government in Silicon Valley, they would have to add in a special rate Now, if you're eligible for both locality pay and special rate, usually whatever rate is higher, if locality is higher, you will receive that salary. If the special rate is higher, you will receive that, but very rarely will they combine the two. So if you're looking for the exact pay chart in the area that you live and work in, I'm gonna drop a couple of links down below that will help you find the exact pay chart that fits your situation. Now, I know with the price of everything continuing to go up, a lot of people are frustrated with this pay raise. They don't think that 4 or even 5% is nearly enough. It's not adequate for federal employees. So it makes me think, what will 2024 be, right? So the first few months of the year, the first several months, there will be talks in the government about what the target pay raise could be in 2024. Will it be greater than 4.6 or 5%? Or will it be less? And how is inflation going to even work in 2023? We're going to have to wait and find out. There has been a lot of news on federal government employment lately. In fact, there was a bill that was recently passed that could force the government to pay some of its workers a lot more. And if you want to learn about that, then I want you to watch this video next. If you would like to see more videos like this, please click like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.